Please remain standing. Welcome, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Natalie Filbert will now lead us in the singing of O Canada.
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true North strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Thank you. Please be seated. Thank you, Natalie, for that wonderful rendition of our national anthem. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining me here in the Legislature building for a wonderful event, a celebration. My name is Angela Pitt. I am the Deputy Speaker for the Legislative Assembly of Alberta, and I will be speaking to you today on behalf of our Speaker, Nathan Cooper, who sends his regrets. First, please let me introduce members of the platform party that will be speaking today. First, Her Honor, the Honourable Selma Lakhani, Lieutenant Governor of Alberta. On behalf of the Premier of Alberta, MLA Brandon Lunty, and on behalf of His Majesty's official opposition, MLA David Shepherd. And our esteemed guest speaker, the CEO of Hexagon Wellness and the current president of the Nigerian-Canadian Association of Edmonton, Miss Funke Alakude. As you arrived here today, you heard the smooth, joyful melodies of Danielle George on the steel pan. Thank you, Danielle. Round of applause. I'd like to hear those sounds more often in the Alberta Legislature. February 1st marked the start of Black History Month, a month that celebrates the history and achievements of the Black community in Alberta and around the world. This is a moment to honor the incredible legacy, acknowledge and recognize their history, resilience, and contributions. Today we celebrate not just the achievements of individuals, but the collective spirit of Caribbean and African Albertans, from the early pioneers who sought new opportunities in this land to the vital and diverse communities that we see here today. The Caribbean and African community has made a permanent mark on the culture, the economy, and the character of our province. This will never go unnoticed. The passion and the energy that flows through the Caribbean and African community is evident in everything they do. Black immigrants were not afforded equal opportunities, but they consistently challenged negative stereotypes and changed their own narrative. In the early 1900s, the Black pioneers established farming communities in what we now know as Breton, Amber Valley, and Campsie, just outside of Barrhead, Edmonton. Edmonton and Calgary were also home to thriving Black communities. Many people that migrated to Alberta brought skills in trades as professionals. Although their credentials were not necessarily recognized in Canada, they persevered in their professions and their lives. These communities battled against discrimination, fought for civil and human rights, and helped to create this beautiful province. Whether we speak of agriculture, business, education, healthcare, or arts, Caribbean and African Albertans have enriched this province's economy, fostered innovation, and brought new perspectives that have strengthened our collective identity. Eleanor Collins, Canada's First Lady of Jazz, was born here in Edmonton. Her parents were pioneers who migrated from Oklahoma to Alberta. MLA Rihanna Hoyle, who's with us here today, who was born in Trinidad and Tobago, is a passionate leader in our community and a member of our Legislative Assembly. Nigerian-born Simisola Obasan is a leader in my own constituency of Airdrie, serving as president of the Airdrie Black community, among many other endeavors. From as early as the 1700s, Caribbean and African people have chosen Canada as their home and have been an undeniably positive force in our province's history. This would not be the Alberta that we know and love today without the Black community and thousands of immigrants that helped to shape our province. Now, it is my great pleasure to invite our Lieutenant Governor of Alberta, the Honourable Selma Lakhani, to the podium to provide her remarks.
Thank you so much, Deputy Speaker Angela Pitt. As His Majesty the King's representative in Alberta and as a settler, I acknowledge all First Peoples who have called this place home for thousands of years and who welcomed us here to make our own lives. May we always dwell together on these lands with respect, understanding, and a sincere commitment to walking the journey of reconciliation, and now I say reconciliation. I also want to thank the singer for that wonderful rendition of O Canada. I was with a school group in my office, which is right up there, and you were all practicing, the singers and the performers, and the students said to me, "Is this what happens at our House of Democracy every day?" I said, "Yeah."
Only on the good days.
No, but it's wonderful to see all of you here, and I'm so honored to be here with you to celebrate Black History Month. And before I go any further, I want to acknowledge the presence of my aide-de-camp for today, Lieutenant Navy Jason Finkbeiner. Jason is a volunteer with the Office of the Lieutenant Governor. He has a daytime job, so I want to acknowledge his presence, applaud his presence, but I also want to applaud and acknowledge the presence of every single person in this room who volunteers their time, because volunteers are the backbone of our community. So big round of applause. So elected officials, platform party guests, and distinguished guests all, you know, I want to begin by saying that we all have an important role to play in shaping and understanding the story of who we are as Albertans and as Canadians. And annual celebrations like this one, Black History Month, helps us to fully shine a light on the various chapters of our history, bringing them to life and adding much needed context. And I know last year at this event I spoke about Noella Charles, a Kenyan-born, Juno-nominated singer and a recipient of the Lieutenant Governor of Alberta Arts Awards, for her thoughts on Black History Month. And she noted that the special focus created by this month is important, but the work does not end there. It doesn't end on February 28th, 2025. She goes on to say, every day of every year, we need to celebrate each other's uniqueness and differences regardless of race. And I say that while there is still much work to do, we are making much progress in bringing light to the essential contributions of Black Albertans and Canadians. And you know, it is so encouraging to see that public awareness of Black history in our province. I was talking to a school group today and I asked, do you know what month this is? And a little Caucasian boy put up his hand and said, Black History Month. And I said, great, because they celebrate it in school, right? Yesterday I visited a high school and they were celebrating Black History Month, and after I spoke, we got a spoken word artist who had us up there sharing his Nigerian Côte d'Ivoire music and teaching us how they dance there, and it was just so wonderful. And this is what we should be doing every day of the year, learning about all the different communities that are part of our tapestry here in Alberta. And you know, as was mentioned, that Black leaders are breaking through barriers and opening new avenues for dialogue and future progress. And you know, I too want to recognize MLA David Shepherd as a Black Albertan, as our elected official, and also MLA Rhiannon Hoyle from Edmonton South, who's the first Black and mixed race African woman elected to the Alberta legislature. And you know, we all know that Black people have been here since before Alberta became a province in 1905. But today, and we know all the famous people like John Ware and Violet King Henry, of course, Alfonso Davis, who came here as a refugee from Liberia, Eleanor Collins, and there are many, many more, many others. But today I want to talk to you about a lady called Gwen Hooks, I believe that's her name, Gwen Hooks, whose parents came to Alberta from Oklahoma in the 1920s in search of a better life for the family. But at that time, the opportunities were still very limited. And as she tells it, pretty much the only jobs available for women at that time were cleaning and housekeeping, and the only jobs available to young men were shining shoes, and if you were lucky, working as railway porters. She goes on to say, but I wanted more. I decided I wasn't scrubbing anyone's floors unless they were my own. And so she decided to take teaching as a vocation. She struggled, she really struggled. She even had to work very hard for the last 25 cents to travel up north to go and become a teacher, to take training as a teacher. But you know, she did achieve what she wanted, and she became the principal of a special education school and the president of her local chapter of the Alberta Teachers Association. And I call her and people like her trailblazers who made it much easier for future generations to realize their full potential. Another person who I have come to know quite well is Sam Obo. Sam Obo is a Nigerian-born architect, and I believe he was involved in the federal building that very well, you guys all walk there every day. And he also was the president of the Royal Canadian Architect Society, a national body. He was the president of that. And he brings in his African heritage and his new Canadian community into all the works that he does. And I really respect Sam Obo. And lastly, I'd like to say that I am an African too. That is why I'm wearing my African jacket, made for me in Nigeria and brought over for me by a wonderful women leader in Calgary. I was born and raised in Africa, in Uganda. My mother was born and raised in Uganda as well. My father was born in neighboring Tanzania. So I am an African, and it is so wonderful to see all of you here today. Share who you are, members of the Black community. Invite non-Black community members to come and learn about you, who you are, what your stories are. We all have stories. Please do that. That is how we recognize our common humanity. So with that, I'd like to thank the Speaker's Office and the Deputy Speaker's Office for bringing us all together for this celebration. And remember, we have to celebrate Black History Month every single day of the year. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Honor. I will now invite Mr. Brandon Lunty to bring remarks on behalf of the Premier, Danielle Smith, the Premier of Alberta.
Well, thank you, Deputy Speaker, and good afternoon, everyone. It's an honor to join you all at this important event and bring remarks on behalf of Premier Danielle Smith. I want to start by recognizing a few of our guests here today, including Her Honor, the Lieutenant Governor, Salma Lakhani. Thank you, Your Honor, for those inspiring words. Edmonton City Centre MLA David Shepherd, President of the Nigerian-Canadian Association, Funke Olakude, fellow colleagues from both sides of the legislature, the performers who will share their talents with us today, and everyone who's here to celebrate Black History Month in our capital city. Alberta has recognized Black History Month each February for almost a decade now, and it's something we look forward to every year. These celebrations have shared the stories of some legendary figures from Alberta's history, each of them trailblazers in their own way. Our vibrant African Caribbean community has played an integral role in shaping our culture, economy, and society. From business owners to educators, from artists to activists, these contributions are embedded into our communities with organizations like the African Canadian Civic Engagement Council, the Black in Alberta Association, and the 11 individuals who sit on the Alberta Black Advisory Council working hard to create lasting change. As I mentioned earlier, Funke Olakude, President of the Nigerian-Canadian Association of Edmonton and the CEO of Hexagon Wellness Solutions, is with us today. With over 15 years of experience in nonprofit leadership, educational institutions, and community-based research, she continues to advance equity-focused policies and programs, ensuring marginalized voices shape impact solutions. As we honor Black History Month, we celebrate the continued contributions of individuals like Funke and so many others who inspire and shape Albertans. We celebrate the rich history that has brought us here, and we look forward to a future built on the same strength, unity, and determination. We also acknowledge that there is still work to be done. Our government is committed to fighting racism and hatred in all its forms, and building a province where people from every culture and background feel welcome and included. We aren't just marking history, we are making it. With every step forward comes a future where all Black Albertans can participate fully in Alberta's economy, culture, and community. Thank you.
Thank you, MLA Lunty. I will now invite Mr. David Shepherd to provide remarks on behalf of His Majesty's loyal opposition.
Well, thank you, Madam Speaker. Your Honor, MLA Lunty.
It is always a pleasure to be here for the celebration of Black History Month, this year, the 9th celebration. On behalf of all of my colleagues in Alberta's New Democrats, several of whom join me here today, Raki Pancholi, Emily and Nicole Goring, and of course, Rhiannon Hoyle. Thank you for being here. Also recognize Emily Scott Sinclair. We're here today to celebrate the rich history and contributions of African, Caribbean, and Black Albertans, all that they have brought and continue to bring to our communities across the province. Our roots trace back over 200 years to when Joseph Lewis, a free Black voyageur born in the U.S., made his way west to work in the fur trade here in Alberta and Saskatchewan. And they continue through early pioneers like serial entrepreneur Annie "Auntie" Saunders, Alberta's most famous rancher John Ware, to, as the Lieutenant Governor noted, towns and communities founded by the Exodusters, the African American pioneers who came here fleeing poverty and discrimination in the Jim Crow South. They were joined by waves of new Albertans from the Caribbean, later countries from across Africa, thousands and thousands of others who've added their stories, their culture, their knowledge, skills, and strengths to make our province what it is today. Our province is now home to the 3rd largest Black population in Canada and the fastest growing. Black voices have never been more prominent or Black faces more visible in culture, workplaces, media, politics, and positions of power. We're artists, scientists, professionals of every stripe, entrepreneurs, academics, and community leaders who've made and continue to make incredible contributions to this place we call home. And indeed, those contributions are our theme today. And what, in fact, do we contribute to Alberta? Well, I think a few things. We bring diversity. Diversity of culture, of thought, of skills and experience, diversity of being. Now, as the Lieutenant Governor and the speakers noted, in those early days, that sadly wasn't welcomed. By 1911, our Black community here in Alberta was about 1,000 people. It's less than 1% of the population. For some, that proved to be too much. They launched a petition that led to a federal ban that effectively blocked Black immigration in Canada for the next 50 years. But despite that, Black Albertans worked hard, made profound contributions to our province. They founded businesses, started unions, built churches and schools, built a rich community life and culture. Amber Valley's baseball team, well, they were known and celebrated across the province. Gospel music thrived, as did jazz and blues. Restaurants like Hattie's Harlem Chicken Inn brought soul food to our city. We entered the professional sphere. Violet Henry King, an Albertan, became the first Black female lawyer in Canada. Mary Burley, the Black angel of Boyle Street, trailblazed a new approach to social work. Black academics, well, they're gaining international recognition in a variety of fields, supported by groups like the Black Faculty Collective and the Black-led Research Network Initiative at the University of Alberta. We develop and advance new technologies, found and lead companies, serve on major boards, and increasingly in elected office. Black Albertans continue to overcome barriers to add to the rich diversity of our province and thus increase our strength. Our communities have worked for equality, to make our province a more fair and equitable place for all. In the 1920s here in Edmonton, Ms. Poston fought segregation in public pools. Lulu Anderson and Charlie Daniels in theaters in Edmonton and Calgary. The Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters worked alongside the Calgary Labor Council to end discrimination in employment and trade unions. Violet King's brother Ted, well, he sued a motel that denied him a room, and that led to legislation that barred discrimination in accommodations. Hattie Melton, she opened Hattie's Harlem Chicken Inn, offering a safe space and community at a time when Black Albertans were barred from many restaurants, and hired young Black men and women, helping them earn the money they needed to afford a post-secondary education. Much as the Black Youth Mentorship and Leadership programs at the universities of Alberta and Calgary work to empower Black youth to thrive socially and economically through post-secondary success. And the ELITE program, well, that connects Black youth as young as 15 with paid internships in STEM, gives them training in leadership, entrepreneurship, and self-care. Through that work to build a more equal province, Black Albertans are building a better province for us all. Another contribution from that comes inclusion. Black Albertans work to celebrate and bring together unique cultures and worldviews of Albertans from around the world, because for decades, the success of Black Albertans has been built in community, finding strength in creating spaces to come together, stand together, and fight together, even when hatred and prejudice strove to drive or force us to be apart. Like the son of early black settlers who told me that his first language was Ukrainian, because his family befriended the newly arrived Ukrainian family that was farming next to them. I think of Dunya Noor of the African Canadian Civic Engagement Council, who's worked with Indigenous leaders to learn new ways to address systemic barriers in our justice system. Diversity Magazine, founded by Franklin Agbo, which highlights and celebrates the cultural celebrations and achievements of all cultural communities in Alberta. Or just last night had the chance to join Feed the Soul Dining Week for their Callaloo and Chow event, bringing together Black and Chinese communities to celebrate the unique flavors of Trini Chinese food. Because making room for new stories and perspectives, a broader diversity of views, doesn't drive people apart, it brings us together. And that is what African, Caribbean, and Black communities have contributed and continue to contribute to our province. And looking around this room today, I do feel proud to see so many I know as game changers, history makers, people committed to action, advocacy, meaningful change, and yes, community joy. Albertans who are making enormous contributions to our province, who have the potential to contribute so much more if we as leaders are willing to go beyond words and commit to the work needed to address the systemic challenges and barriers that still exist and build a province that truly honors one another, where diversity is celebrated, equity is a reality, and belonging is felt by all. So let that be our inspiration today, this month, and throughout the year, to continue to tell our stories, to celebrate and learn from our history, and to be tireless in working to advocate, fight for, and build that future. Happy Black History Month.
Thank you so much. Mr. Gary Martin, also known as the Prince of Blues and Mr. Motown, was recently inducted into the Chicago Blues Hall of Fame as a blues legend. It gives me great pleasure, and I'm actually really super excited to invite him to perform Ain't No Stoppin' Us Now.
Thank you. Ain't no stopping us now. We're on the move. Can you clap your hands a little bit? Ain't no stopping us now. We got to move. There ain't no stopping us now. We're on the move. There ain't no stopping us now. We got the groove. I know you know someone who has a negative vibe, but when you talk to them, they only push you aside. They really don't have nowhere to go. You ask them where they're going, they don't know. We won't let nothing hold us back. I gotta get myself together, gotta polish up my act. Well, you ever been held down before? I know you refuse to be held down any longer. Don't you let nothing stand in your way. Yeah. I want y'all to listen to every word I say. There ain't no stopping us now. We're on the move. There ain't no stopping us now. We got the groove. I was in the back talking to the younger generation, and this was originally the song I was going to do from the Motown stable for Marvin Gaye. is dedicated to the whole planet. Mothers, there's too many of you cry. Come on, young lady. And brothers, there's far too many of you dying. You know ain't got to find a way to bring some of it here today. Yeah. Now, Father, we don't need to escalate. A war is not the answer, for only love can conquer it. You know we got to find a way, yeah, to bring some love it here today, yeah. Now picket signs, sisters, picket lines. Don't punish me, sisters, brutality. Talk to me so you can see what's going on, what's going on, what's going on, what's going on. Fathers, everybody think we're wrong. They say we're wrong, but who are they to judge us? Simply cause our hair is long. You know we got to find a way to bring some love it here today. Yeah. Now picket signs, brothers, picket lines. Don't punish me, brothers, brutality. Talk to me so you can see what's going on, what's going on, what's going on, what's going on. Yeah. What's going on, baby? Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Wow, Gary, thank you so much. That was truly inspiring. Thank you so much, Mr. Martin or Mr. Motown. It's now my great honor to invite up to the podium our guest speaker, who is no stranger to our legislature, Miss Funke Alakude.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am deeply honored by the invitation to speak with you today. I want to begin my remarks with an invitation of my own, so please indulge me. An invitation to sit at the table, to dream with me, and to build with me. To celebrate the work of turning dreams into reality. Because the story of Black history in Alberta are all stories of dreams made real. But Black history has shown us that progress is made by those who dare to dream, to see beyond the limitations of the present and into the possibilities of the future, to believe that something better is not just desirable, but achievable, even when the world tells us otherwise. Across Alberta's history, there have been those who not only dreamt of a better future, but worked to make it a reality. And just like today, they faced obstacles. They faced doors that weren't just closed, but ones that were locked, bolted shut, and guarded by systems built to keep us out. Yet, despite it all, they dreamed. They pushed forward. And their courage opened doors, not just for themselves, but for generations to come. As we've all heard and we all know very well, in the early 1900s, a group of black settlers journeyed north, leaving behind racial violence in the United States to carve out a new life in Alberta. Led by Jefferson Davis Edwards, these pioneers built Amber Valley, a thriving agricultural community, despite facing discrimination and hardship. They didn't just dream of safety, they built it. They didn't just hope for a better life, they created one. Even when society told them they did not belong. And though Amber Valley's landscape has changed, its legacy reminds us that belonging is not something given. It is something we claim, something we build together. And looking around the world right now, we cannot cede ground. We cannot allow the misguided to rewrite our stories or tear down our communities. We dream, we claim, we build, we rebuild. Founded in 1978, the National Black Coalition of Canada for over 40 years has helped us remember and celebrate our history, ensuring we're never overlooked. Despite the odds, our stories will always be told. Their vibrancy echoes through till this very day under the leadership of the amazing Joy Thomas. Since 1984, Carrie West has been a beacon of Caribbean pride in Edmonton. What began as a small celebration has grown into a festival that transforms the city with music, dance, and vibrant expression of culture. Today, Carrie West continues to be more than an event. It is a statement. We are here, we matter, and our cultures deserve to be seen, heard, and celebrated. This festival is a reminder that our contributions are not just about struggle. They are also about joy, about expression, about the right to take up space in ways that honor who we are. This dream is currently led by the awesome Samantha Alexandra. Fast forward to 2017, a different kind of dream was realized. For the first time in Alberta's history, Black History Month was officially recognized, thanks to the efforts of our very own MLA David Shepherd. Everyone here can attest to his dedication to ensuring Black Albertans' contributions are not forgotten. His work was not only about rewriting history, it was about ensuring that history was told truthfully and fully. That our stories, our triumphs, and our struggles would no longer be invincible. His leadership reminds us that representation matters, and that when we take up space, we do so not just for ourselves, but the generations that will follow. The Africa Center stands firm as a rallying point for people of African descent, promoting belonging through creating spaces for a strong and engaged community, encouraging and ensuring full participation in shaping a future for all of us. That dream is currently led by the awesome Sam Juru. In Red Deer, the African Caribbean Center of Central Alberta is building opportunities for young people. In 2023 and 2024, with support from the city, they led an environmental project benefiting 70 African Caribbean children and youth. It is a reminder that when we invest in our young people, we do more than create programs. We create pathways. pathways to leadership, pathways to opportunity, pathways that ensure that the next generation can dream bigger and push further than those who came before them. As I look around the room today, in this very moment, I see so many of you who dare to dream every day. Emily Rhiannon Hall, Bobby T, Neka Otobolu, Dr. Jennifer, JY. Pulling down barriers in so many spaces. I see you all, but I only have 5 minutes at this table today. So I'm unable to acknowledge every one of you, but I see all of you. I see each and every one of you. And your contributions matter. For every door that has been opened, there are still far too many that remain shut. Today, we see efforts to erase history, to downplay the hard-fought progress made by those who came before us. We see rising inequalities that continue to limit opportunities for our communities. We see systemic challenges, whether in housing, economic access, or public safety, that remind us that fighting for equity is not over. It is not enough to note the dreams of those who came before us. We must build on them. We must push forward. We must dream bigger, not just for ourselves, but for those who will follow. As I reflect on what it means to walk through the world in the context of our current reality, I ask myself, and I also ask you today, what is the dream that we will dare to fight for? What is the contribution that we want to make? How will we take the legacies of those who came before us and turn them into action? Because progress is never the work of one person alone. It is collective. It is shared. It is built when we come together, listen to one another, and act with conviction. Edmonton, our communities, our province, has always been shaped by those who refuse to accept the status quo, by those who dare to believe in their own power and potential. And today, it is our responsibility to continue that work. As we celebrate both Black history and Black futures, let us carry forward the lessons our ancestors are very important in the Black African Caribbean communities. So we carry them with us always. So let us carry what our ancestors have taught us. That dreaming is not passive. That change does not come by waiting. That progress does not come and happen unless we push for it. That they dreamt while wishing things into reality. A reality they may not have lived to see, but one we are all living in today. The question before all of us now is, what will we dare to dream up next? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Funky. Next, I'm pleased to welcome our spoken word artist, Majine Matern, to perform We Are Still Here.
On est toujours là, nous. Nous, qui avons la peau trop saupoudrée du soleil d'Afrique et des Caraïbes. Nous, qui avons pu emporter dans nos valises en surpoids notre langue française et nos souvenirs béninois, camerounais, congolais, burkinabés, haïtiens, dans un nouveau Edmonton. We arrived with overweight suitcases full of sun, aggressively carrying the memories of the motherland and our mother tongue, still tied, still braised in French and Lingala, Français et Kinyarwanda French and Swahili, français et créole, French and home, la caille. It was in this city that a new friend from Benin shared with me that she and her country celebrated the Haitian independence because we shared the same ancestors. And that's a story I never learned in Histoire d'Haïti. L'aime te la caille pam, l'aime ta l'école primaire, l'aime te mette uniforme moins. Pour le pays et nos ancêtres, a sweet gift from our diaspora. We took as much home as we could to arrive here. There were no road maps, but we found a way to unpack our spices. We tucked our dried hibiscus between our folded shirts to taste sorrel and bissap near Bonnie Doon. We smuggled our cassava to enjoy our cassava cake and fufu near Bonnie Doon. Nous bois soupe joumounou. Et près de la cité francophone, les oncles congolais, avec toute leur sapologie, ont trouvé un moyen de se multiplier. No liquids were allowed in our carry-on, but in our magic, we brought our palm oil. We dared to leak past the French Quarter to play and dance in Heritage Days, compas and zouk at the Kerry West Parade. Il n'y avait pas de corde routière. Par contre, on a gardé un courage audacieux. We dared to take up space in this city to make it home. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Majine. I would like to extend my sincere thanks to our performers, our platform party for joining us here today. You can find brief biographies of each of our guests on the back of your program. Thank you also to our audience, those who are here in person and those who are joining us online for this phenomenal celebration. I'd like to leave you with a quote from Jean Augustine, former federal minister of the Crown and member of Parliament. Black history is Canadian history. And I would add, it is most certainly Alberta's history. Thank you so much for being here today.